Hello, I'm Jane Midgley, a licensed spiritual practitioner here at the Albuquerque Center for Spiritual Living. It's wonderful to be with you this morning. And happy almost Valentine's Day. What a great time for us to delve into what is love, that force that burns within us but is complex. Today, we're taking the perspective for the love of all things holy. And what could be more holy than this capacity that we have for love? We start in this journey with love when we're babies, and we're like a radar looking around for that unconditional regard, that beautiful acceptance of us and connecting to us, the people that get us. Hopefully that's our parents, but there's almost always some adults who really can tune in and give us that unconditional regard. And we learn to bathe ourselves in that, and it feels better than anything in the whole universe to experience that. And then as we live on, we begin to love others in addition to those adults who are giving us that unconditional regard. And we, at some point, usually in adolescence, have our first love. And even though there may be, and usually is, some suffering that ends up being associated with that experience, it transforms the world. The world looks different. And we're never the same either. This layer, though, of love that can be the most challenging is self-love. And oftentimes we're walking around trying to love and not quite being able to, because we're not being compassionate and kind and loving of ourselves. I have certainly struggled throughout my life with self-love. And the more I understand it, for me, it goes back to some early years when I wasn't getting enough of that unconditional regard or emotional sustenance. And I misinterpreted that. But it's become a kind of quest for me in the last, say, 3 to 4 years. And as it became a quest for me, I began to do some research, which is always interesting to do on these kinds of things, about that great quest legend, the Holy Grail. And much to my surprise, I found out that most likely the earliest origin of the legend of the Holy Grail comes from Celtic shamanism. And I was absolutely thrilled to find this out, because I have Celtic ancestors. On my father's side of the family, they come from the British Isles. And I have more and more been delving into Celtic culture. So the earliest Grail image seems to be of a gorgeous, confident, powerful goddess holding out a bowl of flames, that being the Grail. This is probably Bridget, the great mother goddess of Celtic tradition, who morphed into being Saint Bridget in Christianity. And the legend says that she had, her priestesses were, and followers were maintaining a perpetual flame at her sanctuary. And that this ritual that was associated with the Holy Grail was about uniting within each person and integrating the human and divine selves, knowing the truth that they are one, that your human and divine love exist together and are the powerful force. And that knowing is what she's holding out with the bowl of flames. And I thought, wow, that'd be cool. Wouldn't it be great if we could go back and hang out with Bridget and go through this ritual? Because I think we could all use it. And there's a question that goes along with the Grail legend. There's a couple questions where the seeker must ask a question to be able to receive the Grail. And yet the seeker has to somehow figure out what these questions are. And most people can't figure it out. And that's where some grace comes into this whole process. And one of the questions is, whom does the Grail serve? This is such a profound question because some of us might answer it, well, it serves the people, or it serves my enlightenment or my liberation. And this is part of the unification of that Celtic ritual that I'm sure happened, which is it's got to be both. It serves me. I have the self-acceptance to accept this divine power within me, to accept the full force that I can be in the world. But it starts with loving and accepting and being at peace with myself. And it also serves everyone. But it starts with that foundation of self-acceptance, love, and peace within myself. Because as I know my divine truth, I know that divinity is within each other person. This self-love can also be tricky because sometimes if we're not in that good, healthy place with ourselves, we can put so much attention, almost worshiping another person and devoting ourselves so strongly that we become depleted and we're functioning on top of not being kind to ourselves. And so we want to be able to bring that back into balance so that we are doing it on a foundation of self-love and self-acceptance. Ralph Waldo Emerson, who's one of the great influences on the founders of Science of Mind, our philosophy, said this, and he at the beginning here is talking about personal love. But this dream of love, though beautiful, is only one scene in our play. In the procession of the soul from within outward, it enlarges its circles ever, like the pebble thrown into the pond, or the light perceiving from an orb. For it is a fire that, caught from a wandering spark out of another private heart, glows and enlarges until it warms and beams upon multitudes of men and women, upon the universal heart of all, and so lights up the world and all nature with its generous flames. This love that can start as this personal expression and spark has the force to transform the world and transform all of nature even. This is the true power that we're standing in. Ernest Holmes, the founder of Science of Mind, said, love is a cosmic force whose sweep is irresistible. God is love, and love is God. What could be more holy than that? God is love, and love is God. We're subject to all the human challenges, the slings and arrows of physical life, and we've all been up against that in the last few years. And all the challenges. And so in order to be able to experience this truth of our divinity, our power through love, that godness within us that is love, we have to practice. So we've been talking about this in recent weeks, about the different spiritual practices and technologies that we have to assist us to keep coming back to knowing the truth of ourselves. This week, our spiritual practice is listening. And this listening can be so powerful if we're doing it with our heart, as we're listening to ourselves to know, have we gotten away from loving ourselves? And it's that continual process of noticing we're not there and bringing ourselves back, getting off of it and bringing ourselves back. Sometimes that reflection from other humans, that where so many difficult things are happening, we might even demean ourselves as being part of the human race. So noticing when we're out of that balance and bringing ourselves back is a practice. Part of the discourse on love from Buddhism, called the Metta Sutta, says, let our boundless love pervade the whole universe, above, below, and across. Our love will know no obstacles. Our heart will be absolutely free from hatred and enmity. Whether standing or walking, sitting or lying, as long as we are awake, we should maintain this mindfulness of love in our own heart. This is so cool, right? We don't have to be out in the world doing anything. We can just be lying down. And we're able to be in this force of love and be a source of it. So this listening that we're doing this week is also listening to our heart. Have we gotten out of alignment with being able to love others? To love all beings, to have no hatred and enmity in our heart. We can listen for that and get back into that alignment. Ralph Waldo Emerson in 1838 was asked to give the address to the graduates of the Harvard Divinity School. And he had been a Unitarian minister, as had his father, but he had resigned from that because he no longer believed in what they thought was happening spiritually for human beings. He had had direct revelations of the divinity of his own self, and this understanding that goes out to bless the entire creation. And basically, he invented a new American theology. And he went to talk to the Harvard Divinity School students, and he shared this with them, that the role of a minister is to awaken the truth of the personal God that dwelled within them, and to assist others, to help ignite that in others, so that we can all show up as this beneficent, beneficial presence on the earth and bring the divine energy into the material and thereby transform it. And as a result of giving this talk, he was banned from Harvard for 30 years. It was so controversial. And this is just a reminder that what we are believing and bringing forth into the world is threatening to current structures, because we are bringing the wholeness of the divine and the human together. And this is the foundation of the true life that builds the world that works for everyone, that brings that loving world forward. And so it's threatening to the current structures that are filled with inequity and systemic racism and many challenges for so many people. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "Justice is correcting everything that stands against love." And we know when something stands against love. That's because of that divine part of us that's resonating with the unity and the love and the truth of the divinity within each human. And he and the great philosopher and theologian and minister Howard Thurman, they developed and promoted this concept of the beloved community. So that's all people coming together to worship together, all races, all creeds, all faiths, all belief systems, all classes of people. No matter what their circumstances, they worship together, they come into community together. And this was a symbol of this world that works for everyone. And how do we do this in our lives? Do a continuous co-creation of living together on this planet, knowing the truth, knowing that we can come from love. And it's not about going out and doing any particular thing out in the world, although we follow those impulses. It's about doing it right where we are in our community. Here at the Albuquerque Center for Spiritual Living, we are working on creating intentional, multicultural, multiracial community. And this is so that we can be this love presence right here in our community. Howard Thurman said, "The first step toward love is a common sharing of a sense of mutual worth and value. It is necessary, therefore, for the privileged and the underprivileged to work on the common environment for the purpose of providing normal experiences of fellowship. Love is possible only between two freed spirits. What one discovers in even a single experience in which barriers have been removed may become useful in building an overall technique for love." We want to create opportunities for freed spirits to come together. And it's a practice. Once again, we have to practice it. Because of these structures that are standing against love, it's not natural to us as much as it can be. And so we've got to practice it. There's a technique for love, which sounds a little weird at first, but it's just the way it is that we need to do that practice. We here are working on creating intentional, multicultural, multiracial community, and we're doing it partly through providing opportunities for white folks and for people from different cultures and Black, Indigenous, and people of color to meet separately and also come together in fellowship so that we all get whatever our needs are for self-awareness, self-understanding, and self-actualization within these structures that are going to be transformed as we go to this deeper level. So if you'd like to find out more about how to participate in this, you can send an email to ABQ's Social Uplift at ABQCSL.org. The practice this week, as we said, is listening. And so what I'd like you to do right now is to just bring yourself into a place where you can be that confident, loving, true self who knows that love is all there is. To be love right now. To listen to your heart and recognize, get familiar with this place where you might be off and come back to it. So right now, close your eyes if you are comfortable doing that and tune into your heart. You're going to be listening deeply to your heart. Put one or both hands over your heart center if that helps you connect to it. Feel self-love infuse your whole body and mind. And say to yourself, I am holy and deserving of love. I am holy and deserving of self-love. Now let the love expand out to your close beloveds and say to yourself, my relationships are holy and healthy. And know that they are aligning into more healthiness right now. Now allow the love to expand until it is shining forth from you out into all creation. And say to yourself, I am love in action. And allow my holy heart to radiate into my communities. When you're ready, open your eyes and take this feeling, this embodiment of love, holy love, into your day and week. I am declaring this good. I release it, and so it is.
I am a licensed spiritual practitioner here at the center. My name's Dino. For those of you that do not know me, I wanted to just make everyone aware that prayer is available, and how you can reach us is prayer@abqcsl.org. You can just send us an email, and the practitioners and ministers of the center will hold you in prayer for the week. Also, if you'd like to speak with a practitioner, if you'll go online to abqcsl.org, there's a tab up at the top about us. If you'll click on that, there's a list of practitioners there that will be more than happy to spend time with you. At this time, I'd like to read a little something from this thing called You. In lieu of a closing prayer, if you will. It's from chapter 16, page 165. Today I bestow the essence of love upon everything. Everyone shall be lovely to me. My soul meets the soul of the universe in everyone. Everything is beautiful. Everything is meaningful. This love is a healing power touching everything into wholeness, healing the wounds of experience with its divine balm. I know that this love essence is the very substance of life, the creative principle back of everything, flowing through my whole being, spiritual, emotional, mental, and physical. It flows in transcendent loveliness into my world of thought and form, ever renewing, vitalizing, bringing joy, harmony, and blessing to everything and everyone it touches. This prayer goes out to all of you. At this time, if you'll help me close our service with our closing affirmation. Love is in the air. I feel it. I see it. I share it. I am it. And I am gratefully receiving it. Thank you so much for joining us today. This ends our service for this week.